want to start it off, Max?
Yeah, hold on. Alright, thanks for participating in this study with us.
Oh, no problem at all.
Please, if you could tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, how old you are, what do you do now, stuff like that.
Where you grew up?
Yeah.
Alright, I grew up in a small town in in Connecticut, west of Hartford, called Burlington. Went through high school. I played soccer in high school, and then I went to Springfield College in Massachusetts, and I played 4 years of college soccer there. And then after that, I got a job at Southern Connecticut State University in sports information. I worked there for 2 years, and I did a side job as well. And then I went back to school for my master's at the University of New Haven, where I was a graduate student for sports information. And then I graduated in July of 2011, and I got a job at Quinnipiac, a full-time assistant sports information director at Quinnipiac University. Did I just knock off like a ton of...
Yeah, you did. What were your degrees in at school?
Springfield, I graduated with a degree in sport management, a bachelor's degree, sports management, with a minor in business management. And then after that, I went back to school at the University of New Haven, and I obtained my MBA with a concentration in sport management as well.
Cool. Why did you decide to go back to school after 2 years?
Because the opportunity... I became pretty good friends with the sports information director at the University of New Haven, and he had a position opening up, and it just seemed like the right thing to do. I kind of figured that if I went back for my MBA, that it would give me more of a background that I needed to, because I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. I didn't know if sports information was the field that I wanted to be in for the rest of my life, so I figured having a broad degree as an MBA would kind of help me out if I wanted to change career.
Okay, Beth.
So how did you end up at this position now at Quinnipiac?
So my first two jobs were in the New Haven area, starting at Southern Connecticut and then going to the University of New Haven, and then Quinnipiac's in Hamden, so it's nearby. So I kind of developed a lot of relationships through Southern Connecticut and University of New Haven, and it kind of led me here. This position opened up in September, and Ken Sweeten, my boss now, reached out to the local SIDs, and my name came up, and that started the interview process, and here we are today.
Even though it was late in the game, you think that helped you get the job?
Absolutely. Yeah. I developed a lot of good relationships at Southern Connecticut and University of New Haven. The athletic directors, Patricia Nicole and Debbie Chin, were both very helpful in the process. And then, obviously, my two bosses, Mike Kobolansky and Andy Beardsley, they played very large roles in me ending up here.
Okay, so moving up. So what's the title of your position right now?
I am the Assistant Sports Information Director.
Been here for what,
This
2 years?
is my
third year?
2.5 years, starting my third, yeah.
Okay. So who, status-wise, who do you report to in this athletic department?
Ken Sweeten is my immediate boss.
Mm-hmm.
He's the sports information director. And then after that, we report, as an office, we report to the director of athletics, Jack McDonald.
What is your role in the athletic department, and what is it, and what do you think it should be?
My role as a sports information director is to provide our major. It's a good question. We have our hands in so many different things, whether it's public relations, whether it's sports information, or whether it's administrative work. I guess our primary responsibility is to portray Quinnipiac athletics in the most positive manner possible. Our primary concern are our student athletes, so we want to showcase their abilities and their accomplishments in the best way possible to reflect the university in a good way. So I think working with the media, the local media, national media, is probably our most important, probably the most important aspect of our position.
Okay. And
How many people work in your department with you?
We have a total of 5 people that work in our department. Ken and myself are both full-time employees, and then we have 3 graduate assistants who do a wonderful job for us as well.
Off the record.
how many teams do you manage, and do you limit yourself to just those teams, or do you do more? Do you do more of other teams?
I am the primary contact for 5 teams, with men's basketball taking more attention than any of the other sports, just because the requirement is so much more.
Mm-hmm.
I do have my hands in other sports, as does Ken. We pretty much oversee the department, and asking a GA to cover a sport by itself is asking a lot of that person. So we have our hands in pretty much every sport on campus.
Is there, I know you talk about men's basketball being a primary concern, is it just promoting the athletes, or is it to promote the team? And also, is there marketing enrolled in your job? Like, did they ask you when you got the job, how are you going to get this team to sell more tickets? How are you going to...
When I did interview, some of the coaches did touch base on how can you promote our program to put it on a local and a national level, which in return enhances ticket sales. I know Trish Fabry, the women's basketball coach, that was a specific question for her, and through my relationships developed, it was pretty easy on a local level, because I had developed relationships with the New Haven Register and the Hartford Courant. So I was able to chip in there. But to answer your first question, yes, promoting the program is very important in for our office. And at times it can be difficult, but because we're such a mid-major school, such a small program, and
It's hard to do.
45 minutes away from UConn. I mean, it definitely is tough to compete. And then on the other, then you're 10 minutes away from Yale.
Yeah.
It's another nationally known program. So,
how hard is it overcoming the shadow of UConn? Or does that even play a role in your job?
it's tough competing with the local news stations, because that's their tendency to go to UConn first. Because we're a mid-major and they're a high major, we don't really compete. It's tough to compete with like the men's basketball program at UConn compared to the Quinnipiac men's basketball program. So I guess on a local level, we are competing with them just because you want the Connecticut coverage. But from a national level, it's kind of tough to be in their ballpark.
So what would you say the qualities are to make a good SID?
Organization is my first quality. Being organized on your computer, having folders, and being able to access what you need when you need it and know where it is a big help in our field. And then being personable, just develop relationships especially with local media members, trying to help them out and getting stories. It helps everybody. But those are two very important aspects of our job that make our lives a little bit easier.
Talking about the media, was it different at a D3 school compared to a D1 school? Just as far as the attention. Well, obviously the attention is one thing, but could you feel, like, say something happened that's bad to the team, could you call someone, would you feel comfortable calling somebody and trusting them not to publish it at a D1 school compared to a D3 school?
The different from my experiences, my 2 first schools were Division II.
Okay.
And the biggest difference between Division I and Division II, media representatives obviously want to cover Division I opposed to Division II.
Mm-hmm.
Division III, I mean, it's tough to say. I guess it all depends on your location, too. Because if you're a Division III school and then you're in an area where football is huge, but you don't really have any competitors around you, and you're going to get the coverage.
Yeah.
As far as from a negative standpoint, I'm hesitant. I mean, you don't want to promote your university in a negative manner. So if something does come up, say a student athlete gets into a fight or whatever it may be, you're not going to reach out to that media person and just tell them. If they come to you, you might try to just to keep them in the loop without saying anything that could be detrimental to your school.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, at Quinnipiac, they do it right in the sense that public affairs has the first say in anything. So if they say don't say anything, then then we are obliged not to say anything.
Okay.
So from Quinnipiac's standpoint, that's a good thing.
So what would you say your biggest challenge as an SID is?
Multitasking. I mean, October and March are two of our busiest the two busiest months that we have. And it's when all of your fall sports wrap up and when your winter sports start. And then in March, it's when your winter sports wrap up and your spring sports start. So having your hands in so many different programs definitely makes it tough to juggle. But, so yeah, I think that's probably one of the most challenging times of our job.
So what role do you feel you have within the athletic department? Like what types of decisions do you make for the athletic department, or do you have any types of decisions made by the athletic director?
On a daily basis, I mean, we try to do whatever possible to promote our teams, whether it's providing game previews for a game that week or whether one of our student athletes was named Athlete of the Week. Publishing press releases to promote the program is what we do on a daily basis. Sometimes our athletic director will become involved if it's a bigger topic as the athletic department as a whole. Like
Does he
for
get involved a lot?
Yeah, he'll if something comes up where he wants us to promote in a big way, he'll let us know, and then we'll set up a press conference or whatever the issue may be or the topic may be. I mean, for example, we just announced that we were putting in a bid with the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference to host a Frozen Four for the NCAA men's ice hockey tournament next year. So and that's something that we want to promote in a big way. So that's different than our day-to-day responsibilities.
Okay. What kind of